some people just do the craziest things just to make that experience come back, when addiction and the whole purpose of tolerance just prevents it. So, and the happiness and new memories, new experiences can't be learned. So they're perpetually stuck. They're stuck in this trying to get this moment. And man, I mean, you look at drug rehab with Dr. Drew Pinsky, and you see how crazy some of these celebrities that are so wonderful and creative and beautiful, and they just can't beat the habit. And you know, when spiritual healing could really help them. But in the beginning, spiritual healing won't be as pervasive or used as much, because we need to build some sort of shell to make ourselves stronger first, and then to help us heal. But we're going to have therapy and psychotherapy and slight behavioral modifications first, so that we can have a nice good foundation. So that slight behavior modification is like memory of happiness increases as the memory of happiness increases, is like as the memory of happiness increases, the storage of happiness files increases into your brain, and the community of files offsets the habitual side or the addictive side. So you learn to stimulate certain parts, and this is called behavior modification, where they kind of like do certain things. Sometimes it has to be negative, sometimes it has to be positive. Sometimes people actually regress or store memories that are traumatic in those files, and that's where a professional psychic healer is needed. No behavioral therapist can do that, can modify it, because the defense mechanisms go up all of a sudden. They're like, get out, you know, and they don't know what the hell's going on. So it's all reactive and suppression, and they don't really know what's going on. So, you know, in reality, if we are wired to experience, then thought is what is being felt. Therefore, what we think has a direct relationship to what we feel. What we feel produces the chemicals that make us feel what we're thinking. As we must learn to experience the joy of the experience instead of the memory of it and in it. My suggestion, let's say at a nightclub there is that moment, or once that moment is gone, that moment, that great feeling moment, great feeling / addictive moment, step away. And this is my suggestion to help you with what you're going through. If you're just to say that, okay, you know what, if this is going to help me, then maybe maybe then what he's saying might be true. Maybe I do need help. And if I do need help and I prepare myself before 2012, then I'll become spiritually stronger. Maybe. So, uh, so once a moment is gone, then step away until you pick up a groove. And this is primarily for people that are eat or smoke marijuana before or at a rave. So pick up a groove, just wait. And if there are more rooms, go to the other room. Uh, as your mind accelerates, kinetic energy builds and then begins to activate your light body. But you got to let it happen. But when at this level, the trick is to stay in the moment. When at rest, right before the energy fades away, it's like keeping a yo-yo spinning. It's like trial and error. So you got to keep it spinning, right? So sometimes, there's that thing, that tether ball. Just keep it spinning, or bang, bang, and it spins around the pole, and you got to keep the momentum going. So I mean, when you feel the groove going away, you got to just bring it back. You just got to feel it back, and when you feel it back, you actually are being able to let these things happen, and sooner or later, your brain is going to produce the chemicals to help you experience what you're feeling or what you're trying to feel, as long as your focus and concentration is there. Therefore, staying at high levels in energy is extremely easy and is fake if you're doing drugs. Here's another tip. Dance around people that dance the same way you do, and borrow free energy. Move away from certain people if you don't get the good vibe, or just go to another place just to change the energy, because everyone produces different energy. This process of trial and error took me 3 to 6 months to relearn. Mind you, I only went out once a month. That was after. And in the beginning, it was tough for me, man, because I tried my best to not smoke any more weed, and I stayed away from the E, but I still smoked weed, and I didn't smoke it often. I needed it, so I kind of like pushed it away. And as soon as I started going to the gym, I completely stopped everything, because the pleasure chemicals that my body was producing, my spirit told me to stop. So then it was like, and then after a while, it took me about a good month to quit, and that's because I was going a lot every week, and for 3 or 4 months straight, and I had a lot of issues, and because of that, because of my lifestyle, it was hard for me to get away from it, but I did get away from it. But everything really, if I had this kind of knowledge, I would hit the gym immediately after this. Because what I did was I regressed, suppressed, and I started smoking weed. I quit for like a week, and then I started smoking weed. Started wallowing in my own problems, and they're not problems, they're issues. They're issues because you don't know how to address them. And because of that, you don't have the strategy. We live in a very beautiful country in North America where we have therapy, especially in Canada where it's free. You should take advantage of those things, because, I mean, who knows how long this system is going to last that provides free therapy. And meanwhile, believe it or not, over 52% of everyone in the world is clinically suffering from some sort of depression. On top of that, anyone that goes to work in a corporation, in a company, or in a factory, 3 out of 10 are suffering from clinical depression. Clinical depression. But an illness. And the only reason why it can't be validated as such is because not enough of them go in to get therapy. And out of those 30% of that whole 100, 10 of them have bona fide disorders, meaning they have to be hospitalized. not for their own good, but it would help them to go to a hospital for about a month or 2 months and then come back better than ever, more productive, more efficient, no problems, better life. You might get even married. You might even get a raise. Because studies will show that if you're not happy, you're not going to do well at work. If you're not going to do well at work, how are you going to get a promotion? Well, here's another thing about inhibition. Inhibition suppresses the right brain because it deters the heart. Now, the heart is wired directly to your brain. Your heart is also part of your soul. And if your soul is part of your heart, then anything that you experience is soul. Anything that you want to feel is also soul. But here's the addiction too. Anything that you feel can also be memory and can also be chemical. They're in chemical enlightenment. And it's also a paper here on this presentation. 14 and 13. And 13A. But go 13 first and then 14 and 13A. So, I mean, 13A is biochemical enlightenment and how the body is a temple and Kung Fu. And when you read Kung Fu, you will truly see how, or 13C, Kung Fu and physical enlightenment. So, if I knew, if someone could give me the advice, I would have taken away, I don't know, money that quitting the lifestyle had, and because of that, I didn't have any more money to go out, and I didn't want to get a job, and I was too busy trying to make my dreams come true, and I got circumstantial, and I got distracted, and because I thought what was true wasn't true, and there's a lot of chaos, and I had to deal with issues because, as said before, doing drugs makes you, and please refer to the other sections of 14 and 15 and then 15B, as you will start going down the rabbit hole as soon as if you start doing drugs, and if you do it too much or for too long of a time, what actually happens is that you will find, in fact, that if you don't address this problem for yourself, then what you're going to be doing is that you won't be getting better, you'll be getting worse. So the best point is, if I had this advice, and if I had these helping advice, then I would have gone to the gym, because the gym produces chemicals and endorphins in your body that makes you feel better. But now, what you don't know, what I'm going to tell you, which is why monks won't tell you, is that, and what the elite won't tell you either, and what they don't even know. The partially enlightened people don't know this. This is for the people that are fully enlightened, at the bottom of the fully enlightened part. These are the people that are going to be free from disease, going to be angels eventually when they die. The only way you can ascend, like Jesus did, and how Muhammad did, he partially was enlightened. So close, he was just one step away. But whatever problems he had, he fixed them when he was in heaven. And this is purgatory. You are able to fix everything. And purgatory is now, too, while you're alive.